Good evening. Here we are at 6 o'clock on a Thursday evening. My name is Helen Jennings and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. And welcome to our Thursday evening crafting session. And let me just turn the sound off on my phone so that we don't keep getting pings all the way through. There we go. Sorry if that made you wobble a little bit. But as I say, welcome to our usual Thursday evening crafty session. Have you ever had one of those days where you get to 5 o'clock at tea time and your son suddenly says to you, "Did you dress yourself this morning, Mum?" And you realise you've had your top on inside out the entire day, and you look at your to-do list and the weekly schedule that you set yourself at the beginning of the week. You've not got to the end of Tuesday's jobs, let alone the end of Thursdays, and you're feeling a bit pants, got a bit of a temperature going on and not feeling 100%, but you think to yourself, I have got a date with my mates to do some crafting. And so despite all of everything else that's going on today, I'm going to go and do some crafting with my friends on Facebook. So if you're here to join me, if you're here live, do come on and say hello and let me know what you've been up to today, if you've got some exciting news. And we're going to have a play. And this is a little card that we made on Monday morning. So if you joined me on Monday morning, or if you've caught up with that live, since then you'll have seen that we used these lovely little snow globe dies and stamps and embellishments and things to create this lovely little card that we cased from the catalogue on Monday morning. And we're going to be creating some more snow globes today, but they're going to be a little bit different. So we are going to do two snow globes, but they're going to be two very different snow globes. So as is fairly standard, I haven't got any here. It's some I made earlier. I just have a plan in my head, and we will see how that pans out as the next sort of 45 minutes or so chugs along. So the set that we are using, as I said, is this Still Scenes bundle, and the bundle consists of this really pretty stamp set. I really love this base, this snow globe base. It's just such a beautiful stamp, a lot of detail in there, and you've got your little house on this stamp as well, and that's the house that we used on Monday to create our scene inside of our snow globe. And then you've got this outer just here that actually, if you're just stamping onto some card or some vellum or to some acetate, some window sheets, that gives you the impression of the sort of light shining on the snow globe. And you've got this really couple of nice sentiments, the season's greetings, and this one: may the timeless message of Christmas fill your heart and home with joy today and always. And this little sort of snowy stamp just there, and some really nice projects up here. They'll say the one we cased. This one isn't using the snow globes at all. I really like this one. This is some vellum on top of some of that toil tidings paper, and just a tree and a deer cut from the dies, a few little sequins, really pretty. And this one with this copper base that looks as if it's been sort of embossed into the so the die has been used to emboss into the card rather than to cut the card. So really lovely. I'm just going to see if I can reach, because one of the cards that we did for our the first of our county tour, yes, I've reached it. Let's head over back. So we had our first of the county tour classes yesterday, and one of the cards that's in there is also using this die set. So that's just a silver deer and the trees, and this is just some window sheet that I've stamped onto, so you can see that sort of faux light effect on there. And I've used some of the silver metallic ink to stamp some snow around the outside and to stamp the base of the snow globe. And this is some of the really nice seaside spray ribbon that we've got with the silver thread running through it. So yes, that was a card that that's part of the offering at the county tour classes this month, so again using that snow dome. And some of the ladies went on to create some different cards. So Charlotte last night certainly created a card with polar bears in, so that was very cute. So a really lovely stamp set. So whether you're actually using the domes that you get in the bundle, or you can get as part of this sort of collection to create real sort of 3D shaker cards, or whether you're just making some almost like a flatter, if you like, snow dome, they're really effective and they're lovely. So as well as the die, so you've got the dies as well that go with this bundle. So you've got this really fancy base, you've got this bit that cuts out your stamped base, you've got trees, you've got these bits here that you can bring together to create a church. This cuts out your stamped house, you've got the deer, and you've got the little baby and grown up polar bear. I don't know whether it's mummy and baby, daddy and baby, yeah, a couple of mates hanging out, who knows. And then this is your bit that will cut your hole for your snow dome. So those are your dies. You've got these really lovely snowflake sequins, which is what we used in our shaker on Monday, and you've got the snow globe shaker domes, and we're going to be using some of those today as well. So let's tuck our card that we created on Monday out of the way for now. We'll put it up there. I've got a cup of tea, and let's have a look at what we're going to create with our snow globe, our still scenes bundle this afternoon. Now then, let me just see, where are the dies? There they are. So there's our dies and there's our stamp set, and we've got various bits and pieces ready to go. I've got one of the plastic domes here because we're going to need that. But for this first card, in fact for both of the cards that we're going to be making today, we're going to be using these snow globe elements, but we're not going to be making Christmas cards, or in fact anything particularly wintry. The first card I thought we'd make, I thought we would go for something a little bit autumnal. So what I've got here, I've got a variety of sort of autumny colours, and I've picked some papers from the, let me find my catalogue. So from this Come Together suite, and the Come Together suite has got these really gorgeous papers with it, and I've picked out this paper just here, which is this one, which is actually a lot darker in real life than it looks in that catalogue. So it's sort of a Merry Merlot background with some Cajun craze on, and you've got these leaves printed on it, really pretty. The other side of this paper is like a dot, it looks like a linen dot, which is equally lovely. So there's some really lovely papers in that Come Together collection. So we're going to use one of our papers, and I've cut a card base from Cajun Craze Card, and so that card base is half a piece of A4, so cut at 14.9 centimetres and then scored at 10.5 centimetres. And as we talked about the other day, when you score it, you get a side of your card that has a bump on and a side that has a dent in, and you score in and you fold so that your bump is on the inside. So if you haven't caught my back to basics talking all about paper, that was one of the tips on there about how to score and fold your card. So then we've also cut a piece of Merry Merlot cardstock, so that is measuring 10 centimetres by 14.4 centimetres. Then sorry, I'm just going to refresh my laptop, and then we have a piece of this designer series paper, and that is actually measuring 13.9 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. And then I've got some various other pieces of card and things to create that project. Now I'm just having a look to see if I can find my snail. I have that earlier in the day. So what safe place have I popped that into? Oh well, we'll go snailless. We'll use a bit of Tombow. That's absolutely fine. I tend to use snails on the lives just because they tend to be a little bit quicker, but I actually tend to use Tombow far more often than not when I'm playing on my own. So let us lay that piece of DSP on there and stick that down. And what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to cut our hole for our globe to go into. So let's find that die. That's just here. No, that's just here. Let's get the right die. That's that one just there. So let's do that. I'm just trying to think what else I need to cut. So it may be that I might do a few things while I have got my big shot out. I'm also going to cut a deer, and I'm going to cut him out of copper foil. And also out of copper foil I'm going to cut one of these fancy bases. So let's tuck those up so we're not wasting any foil. So that's our hole for our shaker, our foil base, our copper deer. There's a little bit of early espresso there somewhere. I'm just going to cut a plain base out of early espresso card. But I think for now those are all the dies that we want. So let's just move a few things to one side while I bring my big shot up, and let's do some die cutting. Now obviously when it comes to positioning these things on these pieces of card, but these pieces here I just want to make the best use of my card, so I don't want to waste any more card than it is necessary because it's my nice foil card. So don't want to waste any of that. And we have a base. Will that go that way? Yes, it will. So let's make the most of that. I think we'll run those through first and come back and do our snow globe hole, because that one we are going to need to line up nicely, particularly where we want it. So let's run these through. We'll run them back for good measure, just because. So there we have our base. Let's tuck the die over there so we don't lose it. There we have our little deer. Isn't he a deer? He is a deer, little deer, in copper foil. Put the rest of that foil over to one side. Here we have our base. Obviously we've got little bits to poke out here. Let's find our, take a pick tool and just poke out those pieces. And there we go. Get some really interesting bits that pop out, don't you, with these? So I hope everybody's been having a good week. It's been a busy week here so far, and really getting back into the swing of things. So I did my Facebook Live yesterday morning, the first of the Back to Basics, which actually went live over on my Ducky Stamping Starters Facebook group. So if you are somebody that's just starting out, or you know somebody that's just starting out, do head on over there. Hoping to build quite a nice little community of people that are supporting each other over there as they start out on this lovely hobby of ours. So that was Wednesday morning. I had a stamper stack class yesterday where we were creating things with the It Starts With Art bundle. So that was good fun. And then, as I say, last night was the first of the county tour classes. So that was over at Love-a-Duckie. So we had a nice evening over there. yesterday evening. So of course that makes it quite a long day. By the time I get in, it was coming up for around about 11 o'clock last night. So a long old day, but good fun crafting with lots of different lovely people. Now we've got a big shot here. Let's take our card front. So we've got our DSP and our Merry Merlot cardstock that we've stuck together. And we need to line this up. So hopefully it is straight. Fingers crossed. And back the other way. Ooh. Where's the die gone? There it is. So you do get a really pretty sort of flat bottomed arc of card that I'm sure that you can use for all sorts of things. So if you've got a piece of card, you could have that coming out of the side there with some perhaps designer series paper on, and yeah, perhaps some different elements. That there's always good reason to use those. So we'll tuck that to one side. We won't throw that away. There's good things that we can be doing with that. So I think for now we can pop our big shot out the way. And let's have a little look at what we've got so far. So we've got our card base, we've got our front that's ready to take its whatever's going in the snow globe. We have our early espresso base with our copper foil top to go on there. And we've got our deer to go inside. Now, what I wanted to do is in the background there, I'm going to move that to one side because we're going to do adding something to the background. I've got here a piece of shimmery white cardstock, and I've got my water brush, and just like we did the other day, we're going to put down a sort of sky background. On Monday we used Pool Party. Today we're going to use Seaside Spray, so a bit more of a sort of lilac-y blue. There we are, that's given us just enough ink in there. So let's lay down some water on our shimmery white cardstock. And then let's pick up some of this ink. Now, I don't necessarily want it to be ever so dark. That will do nicely. Just going to pop my heat tool on for a second. Shouldn't call them heat guns. I know we all tend to, but particularly if you refer to them as heat guns in a description on Facebook, you may well find that Facebook won't post your picture or whatever, because any mention of guns is frowned upon, quite rightly. Although I don't think anybody's liable to use these as a weapon to hurt another person, hopefully not. We just use it as a tool to help beautify the world a little bit more. Right, so there we have. Oh, I've obviously got a bit of blue ink on my finger because I've just blobbed on there. Let me just rub my finger on my Cinti chamois just to get rid of that. Right, okay, so we've now got our background with a bit of sky on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the Early Espresso ink and I'm going to bring in the Winter Woods stamp. And my Winter Woods stamp has been used for all sorts of things, as you can tell by the look of it. Had all sorts of things on there. It's been well loved, but they are all tools, not jewels, so they're not intended to be kept as something beautiful in a cupboard. They're intended to be used, and that's what it is our intention to do. So I'm going to stamp these Winter Woods trees onto this background like that. Let's give that stamp a bit of a clean. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I've got some markers here. So I've got some Stampin' White markers, and I've got Old Olive, Cajun Craze and Merry Merlot. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some blobs of colour to the background, because this is going to be quite an autumnal card. Let's have a few Cajun Craze. And I don't necessarily want my trees to be laden with leaves, because actually some of the leaves have fallen, and that is what is going to be our shaker element, is our fallen leaves. So we'll put some of those on. I think I might put a couple more green in there. What we're going to do is we're going to have our autumny trees sitting at the back here, with our deer standing in front of them like that. So let's put those in place. I think that needs to go quite near the top. Yep, about there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top layer of double-sided tape. It's a bit of a challenge finding the bit that's going to give, but once you have found the bit that's going to give, the rest just peel off beautifully. And we're going to sit that in our hole. And then of course we've also got a piece of double-sided tape on the back that we can peel off in a moment, and to attach it to our card base. So let us put a few little dimensionals on the back of this deer. I think what I'm going to do is find my snips and snip one of these in half. Let's put another one there. Let's take the backings off of those. Then he wants to stand about there. Is pretty perfect, I think. So let's give him a press down. Now what are we going to use for our shaker elements in here? Well, as I said, I'm thinking sort of autumn falling leaves. So what I've done is I've taken our new Hello Harvest, the apple punch that goes with the Hello Harvest, and you've got this leaf shape on there. Now I could have stamped leaves using the stamp before I punched them out, but I've actually just punched out the shapes, and I've got some in Old Olive, some in Merry Merlot and some in Cajun Craze, which are the three colours that I used on those trees. So let's just put those in there, and I've done about 8 of each. And we'll just pop those in there because we want to be able to stick our shaker element over the top for them not to gotcha. Yeah, for them not to get trapped underneath. Now let's line that top layer up, stick that down, make sure that we're giving that a really good press around the edge of that shaker dome so that that's got a really good seal. And then let's give our fallen leaves a bit of a shake. So there you've got your little deer in a pile of fallen leaves. There he is. So that's quite fun. So let's finish off that little element. So we want to put on our base. So we'll put down our early espresso base down here. Then I'm going to take a silicone mat, pop a bit of Tombow on it, and then just double this foil layer in the glue to make that nice and sticky, for that to stick on the top there. Now the other thing I've got here is I've got a few choices. We could go with a copper leaf, a small copper leaf, but actually I quite like, there's a different texture again, these cork elements that come from the Magnolia suite. They're quite fun. I think I might have a couple of those. And I think the other thing I might add into there is this again, I think, is from the Come Together bundle. Yes, it's the Come Together ribbon combo, which consists of a really lovely, actually, when you feel it, and it is about feeling it, when you feel it in real life, there's a really beautiful is it crumb cake ribbon, and it is really soft, and it's got like this shiny satin edge on it, but it just feels so soft. It is a beautiful ribbon, really sort of when you see it in real life, so very different than what you think it might look like when you just look at the catalogue image. So that's one part of the combo, and the other part is this Cajun Craze linen thread. So I think we could have a Cajun Craze bow along with those really lovely cork embellishments. So let's find ourselves some glue dots to add those on. Now the one thing I haven't really given much thought to is what sort of a greeting to have with this. actually is really nice, sort of, so if you've got somebody with a birthday at this time of the year, and really suitable for the guys as well as the girls. And you could certainly use some of those other papers and do a completely different colourway on that, but that's quite fun. He does look as if he's really struggling to wade through all those leaves that have fallen from those trees in the background, and those really nice embellishments. These are gorgeous embellishments as well, but those just add a different sort of texture to the whole card. So you've got your shiny foil, and you've got your shiny of your dome, and these sort of nice autumnal colours, and then this sort of just a different texture altogether. So that's quite fun. So I think I'm going to probably leave that as it is, and that will be one that if I come to use it, I might well add a greeting as and when I decide what I'm using it for. But yeah, really lovely. I'm quite pleased with that. So we have a Christmas card, and we now have an autumn card made with our snow globes. So now let's go for something completely different again. Let's just move some of these things out of the way for now, and we don't need that blue. We'll put these pens out of the way for now, and put our lid on our glue. So here are those Magnolia Lane cork embellishments. So here they are. You actually get like this label, and you get these really lovely magnolia flowers as well as those leaves. So they are fun. They're quite thick. They're a good weight. But yeah, they're really lovely. And I haven't used many of those yet, so that seemed like a really good reason to be using them for that card. Right, so for our second card, so we're doing 2 cards today, we've got very different colourways as well again. So this is the woven threads paper, and this was one of my packs that I had. If you saw my little sort of unboxing video sort of the other day, where I was flicking through all my papers, because of course a lot of our DSP at the moment is on special offer, where if you buy 3 packs you can choose a 4th pack for free. So I took that opportunity to stack up on my paper, and this is the really pretty woven thread paper, and these are mainly the new in colours in this paper, which is one of its charms. So we have made a card base out of Purple Posy. Now, we haven't used very much Purple Posy, but it's a really lovely sort of pale lilac-y sort of colour. Beautiful. So again, piece of A4 card, cut at 14.9 centimetres and scored at 10.5. And then we have our mat that's going to go on the top. That is 14.4 centimetres by 10 centimetres. Now, I hadn't decided with this one whether I was going to go that way or that way. I think I might go that way, just because that will be a little bit different again, won't it? We've had 2 cards going in portrait fashion. Let's have one going landscape. So what are we going to do with this one? So again, we're going to use one of our domes. So we've got our dome. We're going to use some of the sequins that go with this suite of the woven thread sequins. We're going to have sequins in our shaker this time, and we're going to actually create a wedding card. So that's what I thought we'd do this time. We would create a wedding card out of our shakers, because there's that really nice die in the set that you can use to create a church. So I thought we'd have a nice champagne foil church with some pretty woven thread sequins to go in our shaker card. Now let me look round and find. Always have to lose something, don't we? What have I done with my dies? There's the stamps. There's the top of the big shot. there's some of the dies, but not the one that we want right now. Ah, here they are in the bottom of this basket. I found them. Okay. So this time we're going to have our dome. We're going to cut out this side. And we're going to need our base to go on there. And we're going to use this die and this die to create our church that's going to sit in the middle there. Okay. Let's pop those to one side for a minute. So what we need to do is we need to cut our church for some foil. So let me just snip a piece of that off, because when you run it through your Big Shot, if your Big Shot plates are a little bit scratched and things, that they often do get, you can find that it marks your foil if you've run foil through, and then you've got bits of scratched crinkly foil that you won't want to use for something else. So much better to cut it off and only run through the pieces that you want to use. For our little base piece, I think we're going to cut that from some purple posy. So let me just chop a little bit of that off. So we'll have that in some purple posy, and I think I'm going to stamp the base this time rather than die cut it, and I'm going to stamp it using terracotta tile, I think. So let's, which is another of our new ink colours, so let's do that first before we die cut it. Grab a block and grab our terracotta tile ink pad. Ooh, nearly. Ink that up. And of course it's terracotta tile that we can see in the background with these swirls and things just here. Lovely. So we will cut that out, and we will cut our church out. So let's bring in our Big Shot. Looking the wrong side of me. Had to put the Big Shot on the floor on the other side. Wondered where it had gone. We need to line that one up. Ooh, fingers are a little bit sticky, sticking to my fingers. And then let's put our church on here. There's our spire piece, and here's our main building. I still think it looks a little bit like a Roman villa. And actually some of the woven heirloom stamps and things do look quite sort of tilish and Roman villa. So perhaps there is a card in the making using Roman villas and woven threads. There's a thought. If anybody does create one, I'd love to see it. Do share it so we can all see your Roman villa card. Right, so those two outside windows pop out, but the others are embossed. It's the first time actually I've cut this one. And then with this front church bit, got an embossed detail on the tops of your spire just there, down the side, but your other windows and things pop out. And when you put it together, it looks like that, which is really rather pretty. Okay, so let's put that bit of foil to one side, put those dies to one side. Now the other thing we need to do is cut our hole in our piece of DSP. So we've decided that we're going to have it to one side, and it will need to be quite far up to get our base in. Perhaps, ooh, wiggled that. Perhaps about like that somewhere. Just straighten that up. Ooh. Yep, you're about straight. Let's run that through. Ooh, dropped that on the floor. And again, we've got this lovely shaped element that we can use in a different card. Just pop that big shot back down on the floor. Now, I haven't I was a bit undecided what to do in the background for this one. I think we'll have the blues. So again, we've got some seaside spray that I've cut a piece that will fit in the back there. And I think perhaps I'll bring in, so this is our Above the Clouds stamp set. So this is the stamp set that has all the balloons and things on it. But the other thing that it does have in this stamp set that is very useful for all sorts of projects is this stamp with clouds. So I think what we'll do is on our piece of blue cardstock just here, we'll take some Whisper White craft ink and we'll stamp a few clouds across the back there. Lovely. Good stuff. Okay, so let's start putting this together. I'm just going to take the top layer of the double-sided, the backing off the top layer of double-sided tape. There we go. Just need to get it started and then you can peel it off nicely all the way round. So let's just pop that in there, give that a good press down and make sure that's nicely sealed. And then let's find our glue and stick our skyline in the back. Make sure that that's where we want it before we give that a good press down. Okay, now we have our base that's going to come on here, and I'm actually going to want to lift that up slightly with some dimensionals. And the other thing I want to do is run some of this lovely in colour ribbon along the back, and this is the Seaside Spray one, so that brings out the blue in the background and the bits of blue in this paper. So I'd like to stick that down before I stick the paper down, so let's just find my scissors. And some tear and tape. think what I might do actually is put some dimensionals on the back of this stand for the globe. So let's put a couple at the bottom, and a couple at the top. Lay our ribbon back down, and hopefully that ribbon will run through the track in the middle of our dimensionals. Go, and then we'll stick this piece round the back here with a bit of tape on, and this piece around the back there with a bit of tape on. Like that. Good stuff. Now we need to line our church up, so we need our back to the church. That sounds like it's an instruction for where to stand, isn't it? Stand over there with your back to the church. Thinking more of our back piece of the church. So let's put a bit of Tombow on the back of that. We need it to go about there. Yep, that's looking good. And then we'll add in our front piece. Now I'm going to just use these edge pieces on my dimensionals and just cut a couple of slithery bits. One going across there. One coming down the side there. Another bit coming down this side. It's the beauty of these little side pieces. You can just create the size you want, and we're going to have a little tiny bit for that top just there. So, ooh, we must still have both backings on that bit because it didn't stick. Let's take you off. Stick you on, and then we can take the other side off. So let's take those backing pieces off. Make sure they're not showing on the front. I'm going to take my snips to that bit because that just is peeking out, and we don't want you peeking out. And then let's stand this in front of this back piece so that it's giving it a good 3D sort of effect. How's that looking? Looking good. So then all we want is our sprinkles. So let's take some of our woven thread sequins and put a bit of a pile of them. And the idea is it's almost confetti. Confetti that's being sprinkled on the happy bride and groom. Let's bring these ones up so they don't get stuck around that bottom section when that goes on. So there. Let's put the lid back on those so we don't knock those flying. And then we'll take the other backing of the other side of the globe. Add in some Tombow. Excuse me. That in place. Give that a good press round there to make sure that none of those sequins are going to come escaping out. There's nothing worse than making a shaker card and having all the things that you've got in your shaker card suddenly being outside your shaker card. How's that? There's good fun. Okay, so what else have we got to go on here? So I've got a couple of other things that I thought we would put on here. So I've grabbed the Be Mine stitched framelits, and I thought what we would do is we would cut a couple of hearts out from here. So if we have one in the one out of Rococo Rose and one out of Seaside Spray. So let's just grab the big shot again. Let's wind that one through. These are really lovely because you've got the sort of scalloped edge, but you also got the stitched element on them. So let's move that to one side and let's do a Seaside Spray one. And there we are, there's the blue one. We've got a couple of hearts that we can put onto our card just here. So again, I think we'll use some dimensionals. Ooh, there is a stray sequin, look there, that's laughing at us, going ha ha ha. You didn't get to put me in. I'm running around out here. There we are, so a couple of hearts, and then let's just have a little look. I've got some greetings here from the Special Celebrations set, and so this is a double set that has sort of happy birthday, welcome baby, for my friend, those sorts of things, but then also has some sections that you can put on the inside of your card. So one of the greetings in this set says, for a special couple. And that seems very appropriate. So let's bring in our Cajun Craze again. Oh, that wasn't very good, was it? It just goes to show, though, doesn't matter how long you've been playing this game, you still have days when you rock your stamp or whatever it is. And then that one's very wonky, but let's we'll try and bring it back in line a little bit. That's a bit better. Decisions. Actually, I think what I'm going to do now, shall we go with a little bit of let's go with a little bit of pink behind there. I think it needs something to raise it up off of the background paper, because the background paper is predominantly purple posy as well. So it just needs something to help it pop out of there a little bit. And we're just sticking these onto just an oddment of Rococo Rose card that I've got, and trimming round the edge to give a bit of a border. We just have that couple word to go in there. Stay still so I can cut round you. Right, I think those want raising up on some mini dimensionals as well. And let's do that. Hello, Sarah. Playing about with snow domes but without any snow. Snowless domes. I think that's what they are. I'm just putting some dimensionals on these greetings. Bring that one up just a little bit so I can bring that one up just a little bit. Now, just a decision as to whether or not I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to snip off some of this ribbon, and then I'm actually going to cut off one of these lacy picot type edges, because it would be nice to bring in a little bit of like a bow or something, but the whole ribbon as it stands is perhaps a little bit too wide. It's really nice ribbon because you get like this sort of almost burlappy linen type. It's a linen type strip in the middle, so it's really lovely. But let's go with a bow. You join me as I'm tying bows again, Sarah, but I have to say tying bows out of this is a lot easier than out of the silver thread that I was doing on Monday. Let's give that a bit of a tweak. Oh yes, that's quite pretty. Let's just trim those edges off and find our glue dots. We had them earlier, so they can't be far away. And we'll add that onto our snow globe. So there we are, you can see those clouds in the background there. Those sequins have obviously stuck to the sticky at the top. So we've got our glittery sequins with our church to make a a wedding card. So for a special couple, really pretty wedding card using those woven threads papers. And then we have our autumnal deer using the papers from the Come to Gather suite, and those leaves that we've punched out using that apple punch from the Harvest Hellos bundle. And then of course on Monday we did the more traditional, possibly, we cased the catalogue and we made a Christmas card. But this is just to prove that actually this bundle can take you way beyond Christmas. Shaker snow domes are really not just for Christmas. I know when my daughter Charlotte was a little girl, and even now, she loved a snow dome, and whether they were Disney or little storybook characters, or there's all sorts of things you can get in these snow globes. So why should we stick to Christmas when we're playing with them? So there we are. So whether you want autumn, whether you want Christmas, whether you want wedding, whatever the occasion, you can create a snow dome to go with it. So I hope you've enjoyed watching that, and you've enjoyed playing with all these different snow globes. Do, if you have a go yourself, do post pictures of snow globes that you've made. It would be lovely to see them. And I'm going to go off and finish getting the tea now, and I look forward to catching up with you all very soon. Have a good rest of the week, a lovely weekend, and I'll see you on Monday morning.